tell them check out the blog, bro. YouTube channel called MKO. It's pugilism, boxing algorithm. M stand for Marvin and Kevin's initials KO. Yeah, go tell them check out the blog, bro. YouTube channel called. Yes, ladies and gents, it's MKO Pugilism Boxing Channel. We're talking all things boxing. Right now, I'm about to talk to you about a hot button issue. And that issue is, of course, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, who recently, Saturday gone, he just lost to Tyson Fury in a very shocking fight. You know, everyone was picking Wilder by KO, but Fury always said all along in the build-up that he's going to take the fight to Wilder, and he said he's going to knock him out. And that is what he did. You know, round 7, the corner threw in the towel on Wilder's behalf to save him, because he was taking a real pummeling by Tyson Fury, you know, throughout that fight. So now the big news is that obviously as a fighter, you never really want to be counted out of a fight. You always want to go out on your shield, and you're never gonna quit. You know, fighters, you know, never want to quit. So, you know, Wilder at the time of the stoppage, you know, the towel was thrown in by Mark Breland, who is a big part of Deontay Wilder's team. He is a former world champion. I think it was at welterweight. Very wise head to have in the corner. And then you've got the other coach as well, Joe Dees, who's been with Wilder for a long time. And in the aftermath of this fight, we've been, you know, we've been hearing a few excuses here and there. You know, the excuse on the newspaper, according to what they say, is that Wilder was claiming that his costume, which was like a, you know, reminded me of a mixture between Power Rangers, Transformers and G.I. Joe, all just sort of blended into one. He had this amazing costume with lights and all this stuff, and now allegedly he's saying that this is this costume weighed him down, and that's why he didn't have the legs for the fight. That's why he couldn't throw the punches or whatever. And you know, that's one of his excuses. And he's also, you know, now allegedly, this is not I wouldn't say that this is like a certified fact as yet, but you know, at least according to reports, according to what's being spread around, the rumor is that Deontay Wilder is actually going to fire Mark Breland, you know, just based on the fact that Mark Breland threw in the towel in round 7. And just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and to say that, you know, I think that's one of the, you know, one of the most foolish decisions that you could ever make, really, because, you know, Mark Breland, you know, of the whole team, you know, he seems to be the one who's got his head screwed on. And it's a foolish thing if you're going to get rid of Mark Breland, because, you know, Breland, as I said before, he's a former world champion. He's been in the ring before. He's been at a high level before, amateur and pro. So, you know, this is a guy with wisdom. This is a guy who really knows what he's doing. So, you know, for you to get rid of him because he used compassion, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You know, as a coach, you know, one of the jobs that you have is to show compassion for your fighter. You know, if your fighter, you know, fighters are always going to be brave. You know, if a fighter's getting beaten up and getting battered all over the ring, you know, the last thing they're going to do is quit. You know, fighters are brave men and brave women also. And the last thing a fighter's gonna do is say, yeah, okay, coach, throw in the towel. But at the end of the day, you know, in order to preserve life, in order to preserve your career as a fighter, in order to, you know, to get you home safely to your wife and kids, as Tony Bellew likes to say, you know, you need to be saved from yourself sometimes. And this is what Breland done for Wilder, because the reality was the fight was not a close fight, Fury and Wilder. You know, the fight was one-sided. You know, Fury was on the front foot. Fury was the one landing the punches, and Wilder was just there. You know, he was off balance all the time. You know, he couldn't handle what Fury was doing. you know. So he was there taking all these punches from, you know, from different angles. And Breland, you know, he showed sense, because at the end of the day, you know, you've got to preserve life. And you know, the reality is we've had deaths in boxing, you know, several deaths. You know, last year 2019 there was deaths in the ring, and you know, it's been a, you know, it's a reality, because it's a dangerous sport. You know, it's the hurt business, and it's not called the hurt business for no reason. And you know, it's for that reason that I say, you know, you can't get rid of someone for that, you know. And then the crazy thing, you had the other coach, Dees, who was saying he's gonna have words with Mark Breland because, you know, Deontay wants to go out on his shield and all this sort of business, and you know, he doesn't think it was right to throw the towel in. And I'm wondering, you know, you've got to be either incredibly naive and know nothing about boxing, or you've got to be some sort of yes man to Wilder, you know, some sort of yes man that just does exactly what he says. But you know, the thing is, as a coach, you can't be a yes man. You can't be a man that just says yes to everything the fighter says. There's certain times where you have to go against what the fighter wants. You know, he might have wanted to go out on his shield, but let's say they let the fight continue and Deontay takes more punches, more punishment, and then let's say he gets brain injuries. Then what are you going to say? Is that a good thing for him? Is that a good thing for his family? For him to go home damaged? Do you really want that for your fighter? You know, at the end of the day, as a coach, you've got to, you know, you've got to really care about the safety of your fighter, because at the end of the day, boxing is a short career. You know, you might box until you're 35, 40 or whatever, and Wilder is going to be 35 this year, I think. So you only got a few more years left, you know. So at the end of the day, the wise thing was to throw in the towel, you know. And for them to just fire Mark Breland like that, I mean, I hope that's not going to happen. But if they do, that will be, for me, one of the most foolish things that you can do, because he was the one in that corner that had the sense to save the fighter. Because you know, at the end of the day, it's also about life after boxing, you know, because Wilder's got a family, wife, kids, and all this. So you want him to be able to enjoy life after boxing. So you've got to save them from themselves sometimes, and that was amazing to me, you know. And another move now that they've made is that apparently they've triggered the immediate rematch clause, and this is another thing where, you know, I would say that based on what I've seen, based on the facts of what's happened in the first two fights, I would say this is another unwise move, because there's a lot of basic things that, you know, Wilder was doing wrong in both fights. The way he was holding his feet, you know, the first fight he was, you know, sort of, his technical flaws were exposed in that, you know, swinging and missing wildly. And, you know, Fury was able to, you know, completely and utterly outbox him in the first fight. You know, the only thing Wilder had going for him really was, you know, some rounds may have been a bit close, but the only real thing he had was those two knockdowns where he got sort of saved and rescued by his power, you know. But apart from that, you know, Fury was, you know, as far as round by round goes, Fury definitely won the majority of the rounds in the first fight. And then you go into the second fight, and once again, you know, Fury, you know, he defied all conventional wisdom, saying that, you know, if you're fighting a puncher, you got to go backwards, you got to get away from the power. But Fury done the opposite, pushed Wilder back, and, you know, he pulled, as Teddy Atlas said, you know, a genius move in that he bullied the bully. You know, he pushed the puncher back, and as he pushed Wilder back, Wilder didn't really know what to do. He had terrible feet in that fight, and he just couldn't handle going backwards. You know, once Fury put him on the back foot from the word go, from the first bell, you know, Wilder just couldn't seem to handle it. So, you know, and obviously he goes on to get stopped. You know, he claimed that he wasn't hurt at all by Fury and he wanted to go out on his shield. But, you know, it's pretty clear when you watch the fight that he was hurt. You know, if he wasn't hurt, then he wouldn't have gone down twice. You know what I mean? So he was obviously hurt. But, you know, to now go into a third fight and to fire your one of the wisest heads in the whole, you know, Wilder team, You know, I think that is a, you know, that's a move that doesn't really make much sense. I understand that, you know, his you know, the money men perhaps behind him, they might want it because, you know, once, if Wilder can win back the title, then they've got some control, they've got some bargaining chips, and it looks better for their TV network or for their, you know, for their promotional thing. You know, it looks better if you've got the heavyweight champion of the world. Fair enough, but I don't think this is the right way to do it because, you know, he's coming off of you know, the results in the Fury fight, you know, the facts of what happened. Fury was able to, you know, almost win on the back foot, outbox him on the back foot. Then in this fight, he was able to beat him up on the front foot. You know, it's obvious that there are some fundamental things, you know, wrong with the way Wilder fights. You know, he didn't really have much of an idea of what to do on the back foot, and I don't think you're going to be able to change that or sort of miraculously turn things around in like however many months it is, June or July or whenever it is. You're not going to be able to teach a guy how to position himself properly and how to, you know, how to do the basics in boxing correctly within the space of a few months. That's just, in my view at least, that's not going to happen, not immediately. I think the sensible thing would have been just let the rematch go, forget the rematch, you know, recover your body, you know, have perhaps another fight, have a fight with somebody who is maybe not world level or fringe world level, you know, go away, learn the basics, perhaps take on a new trainer who can teach you the fundamentals of boxing. Then you learn them, then you sort of practice that, you have another fight to warm up or to feel out the new skills, you know, and then you practice them, and then you go into perhaps a rematch, you know, and then you could maybe fight the winner of if Fury and AJ happens. But I think just jumping into it straight away after coming off of such a devastating loss, which I'm sure will have affected Wilder, you know, not only physically but mentally, because he's, you know, he really fell in love with his power, believes in his own power. So to be bullied like that and beaten like that is a serious thing. So I don't think it's a wise move to go straight into a rematch because, you know, Fury's proven he can do it on the back foot, he can do it on the front foot. And in both fights, you know, especially the last one, you know, these were not close fights. These were not fights that, okay, could have gone either way. You know, so for you to now just jump back into it is going to favor Fury big time. And for me personally, I can only see one winner. But ultimately, you never know what can happen in heavyweight boxing. But yeah, that's just my thoughts for the time being. And until the next video, MKO Pugilism, over and out. See you on the next vid. Yeah. Tell them check out the blog, bro. YouTube channel called MKO. It's Pugilism Boxing Algorithm. M stand for Marvin and Kevin's initials KO. Yeah. Go tell them check out the blog, bro. YouTube channel called MKO. It's Pugilism Boxing Algorithm.